top 3 reasons that landlords will fail investing in the Plano market? I'm Steve Rosenberg with Mynd Property Management. Today I'm joined with Murphy Cheatham, who is the portfolio manager for Mynd in the Plano, Dallas, North Texas area. So Murphy, what are some reasons that people will fail if they don't do it correctly in the Plano market?
Sure, thanks for having me on. Number one, not having your own investment criteria.
Okay.
I can't answer that for you. You can't answer that for them. Nobody can answer that for you. What is your goal? Is your goal cash flow? Is it depreciation? I know a lot of people would rather both, but with Plano being such a successful market, such a hot market right now, you really need to go in with your own investment criteria.
And I think that just to touch on that, I think what people need to realize is maybe what it was 5 years ago or even 3 years ago, it may be different today because Plano is a very fast moving area in the North Texas market. And your criteria that you may have had 5, 10 years ago probably are irrelevant. Would you agree that what they are today?
Absolutely, absolutely. In the terms of return, values have risen sharper than rents in that area. I mean, there's still some pretty good rents there, but values have risen sharper than rents. So you might not be getting the same return, but if you want to invest in a certain school district, if you want to use it as almost a savings account, if you want to chase after a certain industry, a tech industry or what have you, and make sure that your renters are in that industry, that might be a good strategy for you. But I agree. We need to, especially in this fast-paced market that we have right now, we're in the midst of what we think is the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic and the shifting in the financial markets. You need to update your criteria and be honest to that and just understand that there's no right or wrong answer. Just have a reason for making that decision.
Sure. What are some other reasons?
Again, not doing your due diligence. Understand what's going on with the school district. Understand what's going on with the property taxes. While Texas doesn't have the state income tax, Texas does have relatively high property taxes. And then if you already have assets, deferred maintenance. We've seen deferred maintenance really come back and bite people where it hurts, so to speak, and when that bill comes due. And you might be having great positive cash flow, lose a tenant, you might need to move another tenant into that property and get that house certified by the city, and you have a huge deferred maintenance bill, whether it's your foundation, your roof, your plumbing, or what have you. We've seen that come back and bite a lot of people. So you want to stay on top of that maintenance.
Sure. Yeah. And what would you say is the last reason that most people in Plano will fail as far as investing goes?
I would have to go back to that very first one. You got to do your due diligence, and you have to have your own investment criteria, and stick to that. When people relax that, they find themselves regretting that about 6 months down the road.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that when you're an investor, it really truly is the numbers, not your emotions. And the numbers are telling you a story. Sometimes we as investors choose to ignore what the numbers are telling us because we have an emotional tie or a personal belief, and we choose to ignore what the data is saying. And the data is the data. And it's not our job to push the data to make it mean something else. It's our job to look at the data and listen to what it's telling us. And I think what Murphy's saying is spot on, because Plano is a very fast moving market. And you want to make sure, well, really anywhere in the Dallas, North Texas area, you've got to make sure the numbers are dictating the deal, not your personal beliefs or emotions or past experiences, because the market is changing.
Sure.
And if you go into a deal with a prior strategy, you probably have the wrong strategy or it will not align as it did maybe a couple years ago. So I think it's important to understand that be very trust but verify is the term I've always learned. And you just want to make sure that you are cognizant of what the numbers are telling you. And just like Murphy said, you've got to do your due diligence. You've got to make sure that the numbers make sense. And you can't compare it to what other areas are doing in the North Texas area or anywhere in Texas or any other market. You can only compare it to what Plano is doing right now today, because that's when you're purchasing it. And that to me is the most important part of the conversation. So
I agree.
Murphy, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
Email Murphy at mind.co, MURPHY at MYND.co. It's Ask Murphy at mind.co. And then 888-866-6727, 888-866-6727. Thanks.
And for those of you that want to keep your education going, I would invite you to join our Facebook group. It's the Mastermind, MYND, Mastermind Real Estate Investment Club. There you'll get people like Murphy, myself, other investors, both novice as well as experienced, talking about this very subject, as well as others, and having conversations as to what is the right and wrong way to do things. And hopefully you will avoid some possible catastrophes or failures by learning from others. We also do have a podcast show. It's called The Mindful Investor. That comes out every week on iTunes and Spotify. And those are probably some of the best informational podcasts you're going to find, because we get both super experienced as well as novice investors. And we learn from not only their successes, but also from their failures and their challenges and how they've overcome them. So it's very informative. I definitely invite you to watch, subscribe, and pay attention to this podcast show, because it's chock full of information. On behalf of Murphy and myself and Mind Property Management, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you'd like to keep the conversation going, join our Facebook group.